What is up, guys, and welcome back to episode 54 now of the Leeds United Career Mode. It's a very good episode for you in terms of games coming up today. 3 games in total, 1 against Liverpool here. Then we take on Everton, obviously the rivals of Liverpool. And then we have an early title decider, I'm going to call it, against Spurs. It's probably not an early title decider, but I'm going to call it that just for the sake of it. Because at the moment, it seems like we are the two sides possibly going to be winning this Premier League title come the end of the season. If we keep going the form that we are in anyways. It's us and Spurs at the moment, the two sides sat first and second. So that game is the third and final game coming up in this one. Before that, we obviously play Everton, and then before the Everton game, we do have Liverpool coming up here in just a second. So I was looking forward to this one. Hopefully, going to go into this and pick up a number of, well, hopefully 3 points coming out of this one. If we can possibly do that, that would be absolutely fantastic to do. Liverpool do have a good side, though, so going into this, I'm not sort of looking at it as, I won't be disappointed if we get a point after this, because, Klopp's men are very good. They do have a solid side here at Anfield, so I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on. But I'm also not going to be too disheartened if we only get a point out of this. I said last episode that we did draw to Arsenal when we did obviously draw that one, that I did see it as 2 points lost rather than a point gained. But here against Liverpool, it's one of my bogey teams. They are a side that can, they can beat me. There's no doubt about that. We've had quite a good run of form against them, though, I have to say, in terms of our Leeds United own personal, performance against them. But I will say, in previous FIFAs, Liverpool were one of my bogey teams, along with Manchester United. And Manchester United have continued to be a bogey team for me this season in career mode. You saw it recently in terms of how we played against them. And they obviously beat us twice last season, which was a bit unfortunate, I have to say. We did manage to get revenge on them, though, earlier on in this season, as we did take them on and did, in fact, beat them by a 1-0, I do believe, in that one. So 44 minutes into this one against Liverpool here today, and Anwar goes down this right-hand side to get us a chance in this one. Stop and turn inside the area, gives it to Remy. Remy takes a strike on. It's well saved from the Liverpool man, but he palms it straight into an area where you just simply can't do. He's got to palm that either out wide into the, obviously for a corner, or he's got to try and catch it, and he doesn't do either of those. He palms it straight into an area where Eriksen is waiting, and thankfully the Dane gets us off to the perfect start in this first half here, as we're approaching the end of the first half anyways. And we did, in fact, take the lead here. So I was very, very happy to see that end up in the back of the net. I have to say that that was quite lucky in terms of what we're going to get there, because I do believe that it wasn't the greatest of strikes from Remy by any stretch of the imagination. I think the keeper should have done a lot better than he did with that one. So, it's been a problem for numerous goalkeepers, especially when you look at Liverpool's as well. Mignolet, although I do rate Mignolet, I do have to say sometimes he does make a few dodgy decisions. And 68 minutes into it, Eriksen got ourselves another chance in this one. He gives it off to Dendoncker, who gives it into Remy. Remy takes the strike on, but unfortunately Karius is behind it. It's actually not Mignolet, it's Karius in goal today. But Mignolet was one of those goalkeepers that could easily, do the absolute crazy stuff, and then he'd make some saves that you was questionable and less questionable strikes in the back of the net. But it's a bit of a weird one. But Karius there redeemed himself, as we could have easily found ourselves 3 goals to nil up in this one, but unfortunately weren't able to do so. But I have to say, on the day, Liverpool were really, really poor. They didn't come out and didn't really have a go at me, in all honesty. It was one of those games where I felt in control throughout the entirety of it. I only had 3 chances in the game that you saw there. It was actually a sort of weird game to play. I actually had 6 shots, 6 on target, and Liverpool didn't even take a strike at my goal. They came into this one. I don't know what to make of it, really. It was one of those games where, I felt as though we were in control, but it felt such a midfield battle in terms of the two sides going at it, and all that really happened was I had 6 shots, but 3 of them I didn't show you because they were from outside of the area, me trying to bang one in from the edge of the area into top bins. So we actually only had 3 real chances at that, and we scored 1 of them, and it was a chance in which I would have to say Karius probably should have done better. But to pick up 3 points from that, I am very happy, and it means we move 3 points clear at the top of the table there. I think we are now 3 points clear of Spurs, who we will be taking on in the back end of this episode. So if we can win against Everton coming up now, and then we can win that game against Spurs, we could possibly be 6 points clear at the top of the league, which I wasn't expecting to be saying come December. We are actually in December 17th as we do take on Everton here for this one. So the January transfer window is right around the corner. We have £8 million left in the transfer window. One of you guys suggested as well that I signed a left midfielder. I actually inquired about him. I think his name was Bailey. So thank you to the guy that actually suggested that. I have added him to our shortlist, and he will be. I have inquired about him. They said they wanted around 27 million, but I could make that deal happen because we do have 400,000 in the wage budget. But I need to know what you guys want me to do in terms of pre-contract signings, or do I not go for pre-contracts and do I just try and sign Bailey and then I'll sign some pre-contracts with the remainder of the wage budget? So let me know what you guys want me to do in the comments down below in terms of what we're going to do in this January transfer window. I obviously just signed your suggestions back in the summer window, and your suggestions were absolutely phenomenal because it's got us into a position where we are undefeated so far here at Leeds United. 14 games played, 10 wins and 4 draws. That's all thanks to you guys as well. Admittedly, some of my pre-contract signings have been good, but you guys suggested the players that you wanted bringing into this club. I made 6 signings in the summer window, and they were all suggested by you, and it seems like those 6 signings have worked out perfectly. So thank you to you guys for suggesting the signings that you guys did, and mad props to you for that as well, because you made this series slightly better for ourselves as well, because we are currently undefeated. We could quite possibly replicate Arsenal's heroism of the 2003-04 season when they went unbeaten in 38 Premier League games. Let's just see. I'm not going to call it now. I don't want to call it now because I don't want to sort of put pressure on myself. I don't want to, jinx it, but there is a real chance here at Leeds that we possibly could go 38 games unbeaten. If we could do that, that would be absolutely incredible. Not only that, if we could win the Premier League as well in a season that I said I'd be happy with top 4, that would be next level as well. But Everton here didn't really, put up a good fight. I have to say, both Liverpool sides today were absolutely poor. In this one, El Ghazi just mugs off the defender there. He actually puts it through the defender's legs and then smashes that one into the bottom corner. I'm not entirely sure who it is in net for Everton, actually. They do have a much weaker side than what I would have liked to have seen here. I do believe that Ronald Koeman in real life is going to do a better job at Everton in real life than they are currently doing in my FIFA career mode here. But they obviously only just escaped relegation as it goes for Ashley Williams' legs. Actually, that's gutting. That's probably the reason why it's ended up in the back of the net, because that was so close to being blocked by the Welsh defender. But this is the Everton side from last season that only just stayed up. So it's to be expected. We should be able to beat them here. I do believe we have a miles better side in this one, in my opinion. I don't think, it's one of those things where we should be really conceding in this. But it was a former player that would come back to haunt me. I have to say, Bernard Anita in this game was he was one of the better players in terms of Everton players in this one, as we did have a chance to make it 2-0 for ourselves here, 10 minutes in. Felt as though Remy went down in the box. Wasn't a penalty, but, I've seen them given in the past. But, like I said, Bernard Anita was the one of the bright sparks for Everton on the day, and it was him who would come back to haunt me. I sold him to Everton from Leeds United. He was only here for literally a season, and it was on a pre-contract signing, but we did actually sell him back to Everton after his Newcastle days. Came to us, and then he went off to Everton to play his football here at Goodison Park, and he actually got Everton back on level terms. So the number 19 on the day for them was one of the brightest sparks in this Everton lineup, and he actually made it 1-1 there. Bernard Anita with the strike to get himself the equalising goal in this one, and I was absolutely gutted at the time. I was thinking, surely not, this isn't going to happen to me again. They actually signed Christian Benteke as well from Palace. I'm wondering if that is a replacement for Lukaku, because obviously in this career mode, Lukaku actually went to Manchester United for £56 million. So they actually signed Benteke. Last season they had Valencia up front, which is very, very interesting to see. They actually went ahead and bought Benteke, so that's good as well. They've managed to get another Belgian in the side, and it's a good Belgian as well. But as much as they can have Belgians as they want, we have Emre Moore, who actually came off the bench at half-time in this one to smash us 2-1 in the lead. A very similar goal to Anwar's in the first half, except this one doesn't actually go through anybody's legs. It's just an absolutely wonderful strike from the young man to make it 2-1 in the game, right into that bottom corner. I have to say, the Everton goalkeeper today looked a bit poor in terms of his ability in front of goal. Like, those 2 strikes, yes, Anwar's, I guess you could say, gone through Ashley Williams' legs, so the goalkeeper sorted late, but that one from Emre Moore, I was looking at it thinking, I would have been disappointed if we'd have conceded that, in all honesty. If Leno lets that goal in, I know Leno's obviously a better goalkeeper than the Everton goalkeeper is here, but if Leno lets that goal in, I would have been thoroughly disappointed. And then it actually got worse for Everton. I don't know what Ashley Williams is trying to do here, because Emre Moore is obviously very, very quick. Yes, he's not strong, but he's quick. And if Ashley Williams literally just ran for the ball when I played that through ball, he would have easily defended that. He didn't need to try and cut off the run of Emre Moore. You can see him. He's trying to get the man rather than going for the ball. It's a classic mistake to make as a central defender. He's going for the man rather than the ball. And Emre Moore just goes around him and says, you know what, if you're going to do that, I'll just beat you in the foot race then, and slots that one home to make it 3-1. So again, I'm going to call that's extremely poor defending from Ashley Williams, and if he's better there, he doesn't do that. I don't know what was going through the Welshman's head there to be able to defend it that way. I don't know why he just didn't run and try and defend the ball rather than going for the man himself. So again, mistake by Williams. I have to say, on the day, he was pretty damn poor for Everton. You can see by match facts, it actually wasn't that commanding of a performance from me. Although 4 shots on target to score 3 goals, I guess we have a good shot on target to goal conversion rate, so that's very nice to see. But I have to say, Everton on the day, yes, I think they might struggle again this season, guys, because last season they struggled. They obviously got out of the relegation zone towards the back end of it. But this season, they just look like they're going to struggle again. I mean, it's looking bleak for them. I do believe they'll stay up, but They won't be like a top 6, top 7 side. They won't be, challenging for the top end. I could be wrong. They could surprise everybody and come out of nowhere in the remainder of this season. But I have to say, the fact that Vernon Anita was their best player on the day, and he was actually sold by us, suggests that, that was a game that we should be winning, if that's the case. If we sold Vernon Anita because he was surplus to requirements here at Leeds, and then he goes and scores and is, Everton's best player, that doesn't bode well if we don't win that game. So I'm very happy we've won that game, but we come into quite possibly the most important game of this season so far. We take on Spurs here at, I do believe, White Hart Lane going into this one. It was going to be a very, very important game for ourselves and Spurs for that matter, because Spurs are actually 3 points behind us at this point. So if they lose this, they are actually 6 points behind. So they have to try and keep up momentum and have to try and beat us here to, bring down that gap, really, because right now we're 3 points clear, and if we win it, we go 6. So in terms of the Spurs performance, if they don't win, they are looking at being 6 points behind us, and the momentum we are in, we are yet to be beaten in this Premier League season. I think the closest team to do it was probably Middlesbrough, and that's when they took that early lead. And if they'd have scored the second goal in that one, we could have been looking at a different game. We came back to win that, obviously, 4-1. That one was a bit of a weird game, because in all honesty, I do believe if Middlesbrough had scored that second goal, we wouldn't have come back and won that game. So it's just one of those things. However, we are taking on Spurs here, who obviously are the next best side in the league in terms of form. Pochettino's men are very, very good in real life as well. And being an Arsenal fan, it hurts me to say that, because I genuinely believe that Spurs this season, last season they had a good team as well, don't get me wrong, they should have actually possibly won the league. They didn't manage to do it, and they actually finished third in the end after losing 5-1 on the last day of the season to Newcastle. But Arsenal finished second in that one. I don't know what to say, guys. I think Spurs have a very, very good side, and in real life they're going to be quite good for the next few seasons, I do believe. But in the game, it's a bit of a different story. They obviously sat seconds. They're doing pretty well for themselves here as well. But 30 minutes into this one, and like Remy got us off to an absolute flyer. I was loving this when I scored it. In my mind, as soon as the ball came to Remy, I knew if we could check back around the defender, because obviously Remy's very quick, if we get past the defender, I beat them in a foot race every day. And the low-driven shots in this game, guys, I cannot tell you, I can't stress enough how strong they are. The keepers just don't know how to save them in this game. And that's another example of the low-driven shot there. Keeping it low and hard into the bottom corner. It's a very, very unfortunate goal to concede for Spurs, but I was absolutely loving this. And the best bit was, we had Ericsson, obviously, formerly of Spurs, but we also had Jan Vertonghen as well. And Vertonghen on the day for me was an absolute rock at the back. He was just so solid all game long, and I would have personally, if I'd have been able to give him man of the match, I would have. He was an absolute rock, and that was basically Spurs' only chance in the game, and it came 59 minutes into it, and it was very poor in the end from their forward in the form of, who is their forward actually? Is it Janssen? Janssen, isn't it? Yeah, Janssen. So, in the game though, guys, it was a very, very even sort of affair, but I have to say, like I said, Vertonghen on the day was absolutely quality, and that is the reason why I signed him over here to Leeds United, and we did have a chance to make it a second for ourselves. We get a ball whipped into the dangerous area. Vertonghen went up for it, couldn't quite make the header count for ourselves, but we get another corner. Ericsson whips this one in. El Ghazi's up in the air, he wins the initial header, it comes to Origi. Origi takes the strike on it, comes off the post after hits, saves it onto it, and Remy's at the back post to make it Spurs 0, Leeds United 2, and 74 minutes into the game, we were cruising, and I was absolutely loving it, because it means we'll be 6 points clear, guys. I cannot stress that enough. 6 points clear in a season that I said I'd be happy with top 4. We are absolutely running riot in the Premier League, and I have to say, our team is like literally, I believe that this team is good enough to win this Premier League, but I didn't want to say it way back, because I didn't want to build up our hopes and then sort of me, play badly and then bring it crashing down. But I can safely say, the fact that we are unbeaten in, 16 Premier League games, I am feeling confident about this season. I believe that we can win this Premier League title. We may not go undefeated, but I believe we can win it. And Vertonghen on the day is an absolute rock for me. But we are coming towards the end of this episode of Career Mode. If you have enjoyed, smash that like button. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Danny, and I am out. Adios.